So this is the cream of the crop. It's a holy grail of passive income, and that is dividend investing. Now, welcome to the third episode in this series. So if you haven't watched the first two videos yet, then I recommend you go and watch those because my philosophy, as you know, is to earn income online, invest that income into property, and then use your profits from your property to invest in dividend paying stocks. Now, when we invest into dividend paying stocks, this gives us a pure passive income for life. The whole idea of investing into dividend stocks is that it supplements our lifestyle, it pays for our expenses, pays for our living costs, and by doing this off dividend paying stocks, it actually gives us a pure passive income. It gives us financial freedom where we're not reliant on working for money, or we're not reliant on having a job or creating an income, because the money that we invested works for us and provides us with a regular income off the dividends. Now, don't get me wrong, dividend investing is not something that you can do overnight unless you have a ridiculous amount of money. You do need a large capital to reap the rewards of receiving an income from dividends, because realistically, you're only going to achieve around a 5% yield. Now, in terms of investment, that means you'll only earn £5,000 per year per £100,000 you have invested. Now, before you think this is totally unachievable, or you don't think that you have the means or the knowledge to do this, then please stick with me, because the thing with dividend investing is, like with our property investment where we reinvest our profits and we start to see a compound effect and a snowball effect, the exact same thing applies to dividend investing. Now, there is a really good book which I recommend, and it's called Get Rich with Dividends, and this basically explains how you can invest in certain companies that pay dividends, and then you reinvest these profits into the companies, and you create this snowball effect where eventually you build up enough capital where your dividends actually become sufficient and worthwhile, and you build a really, really good investment. So yeah, I highly recommend that you check that book out, Get Rich with Dividends, because it'll give you a really good foundation, a good footing when starting out investing in dividend paying stocks. Now, for me, I've always to and froed on the idea of investing in dividend paying stocks, because one part of me thinks, yes, great, I can build this big pot, I can live off the earnings, I can create a really good portfolio of companies, and the dividends will supplement my lifestyle, so to say. But then on the other hand, I think, is it really worth it saving this large amount of money to invest into something for rather small returns? Whichever way you look at it, I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. I'm not going to criticize or say, yes, you should be doing this, or no, you shouldn't be doing that. So as an example, let's say somebody gave you £1 million today. Would it be better to just spend that £1 million over the next, say, 20 years? You could spend £50,000 per year for 20 years. Or would it be better to invest £1 million and earn £50,000 per year off your investment? Now, for me, it'll be investing, earning the money, because at the end of the 20 years, you still have your £1 million. But I do understand for some people that they prefer to just use the money rather than invest in it. So if you're with me and you think that investing is a better idea, then I'm going to give you a few pointers on how to start your dividend portfolio. Now, the first thing to look at is you need to look at companies that have a good track record. Now, the thing with dividend paying stocks, it's always best to go with the larger companies, the blue chip companies that have been around for decades and probably going to be around for ever. They're the ones that you want to put your money into, the ones that give you a solid return, the ones that are stable, because there are hundreds of companies out there where you could invest your money, but to be honest, you could be taking a risk, they could be volatile. One minute they might be paying you a really good dividend, and then the next minute they might just stop the dividends altogether. The share price can fluctuate a lot. There's a lot of variables when it comes to choosing the right companies to invest in. So what type of return can we expect to get? So for me, I base mine on an average of around 5% yield per year. So if you're investing £100,000, that gives you £5,000 per year. Now, there are a lot of companies that offer more or less. Some people fall into the trap of going for companies that offer the highest dividend. I've seen companies that offer 10, 12, 15, even 20% dividends. However, you shouldn't go for these type of companies, because usually when a company has to increase their dividends quite substantially, this usually means that they're in some kind of trouble. Now, a good example of this is TUI. Over the lockdown, for obvious reasons, the share prices plummeted quite a lot. Obviously, there was no travel with all the restrictions. Therefore, their dividend went up quite significantly. I think it went up to around 12%. You may think this 12% is a brilliant return, and don't get me wrong, it is. It's a fantastic return on your money. However, this usually spells trouble. It usually means that the company needs investors. It needs an injection of cash. Therefore, they increase their dividends to attract investors, and hopefully they generate enough money to keep the company going and to bankroll their debts or whatever's going on in that current situation. So for me, any company offering over 6 or 7% usually means that there's some kind of problem or trouble to look for. Now, doesn't mean there is, but I highly recommend that you do your homework, you do your research, and you make sure that you choose companies that are solid and stable. Now, if you want to produce a monthly income from your dividends, the problem you're going to find is that most companies pay quarterly or twice per year. So what you can do is, over time, you can select companies that pay at different periods. So some companies may pay in January, April, July, and October, whereas other companies may pay in February, May, August, and November. So if you mix your portfolio up and you buy companies that pay at different periods, then that'll help you to achieve a monthly income from your dividends. Instead of having your income coming 2, 3 or 4 times per year, if you build your portfolio correctly, you'll start to see a monthly income, which at the end of the day is what we're striving for. Now, this video is never intended to teach you how to do it. It's not intended to teach you how to research stocks or which companies to invest in. The video is just about making you aware of dividend paying stocks and how beneficial they can be to your investing and to your future income. Now, as I said near the start, I recommend you read the book Get Rich from Dividends. I'd also recommend that you start slow and steady. Go and research those blue chip companies, go and invest in them. Make sure you reinvest your profits back into the company to increase your stakehold, which will give you more profits. Obviously, you don't want to do this forever or you'll never reap the rewards of your income. Probably, I would say, set a goal, set a timeline. So when you reach a certain age, that's when you start to take all of the income and live off those dividends. Also, don't expect to be able to live off dividends in a couple of years or 5 or 10 years, because it's probably not going to happen. It takes time. You need to invest. You need to invest from your profits that you built from what I mentioned in videos 1 and 2, from your income and your properties. You want to build this up, compound it, use a snowball effect to build a large pot, a large portfolio. Then once you've done this, you'll start to see a nice income. And the best thing about it is this income is purely passive. You don't have to do anything. You're not required to do anything. You don't have to work. You don't have to exchange your time for money. This is just pure passive income that you receive from your investments. So when we put it like that, it becomes very attractive. You can see why people invest. You can see why people strive to build these portfolios. And as you come to retirement age, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself if you have a lot of money behind you, if you have these investments, rather than if you've worked all your life to then retire on a mediocre pension. And obviously we can't rely on the state pension because that's pretty pathetic. So building wealth during your younger years and middle-aged life will benefit you in the long run. And don't forget that you can also pass that down to your children, families, and future generations. So I hope you enjoyed this quick video. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll also be releasing quite a few more videos in the future, so don't forget to hit that bell button so that you get a notification whenever I release a new video. Now go and research that book, get yourself some dividend stocks, and I'll catch you soon.